We are back for part 3.
Dun, dun, dun.
I actually had that in my head, so I'm really glad you did that. That was great.
Yeah, you wound it up for me.
Okay, I don't know.
You set the stage.
Set the stage.
You put it out there.
Okay. Anyway, today we're leaning into the third of the scattered rule and rhythm sections or topics or classifications, whatever, of co-mission. And it simply is a rule and rhythm that guides our energies, bodies, and resources toward being missionally present with the message of Jesus in a specific space. And I know, like, I started to mention this a little bit on Sunday. I want to mention it again here, but a little bit more pointed and detailed. It's tempting to us when we look at that word co-mission to simply like correct it and say, Pat, you didn't spell it correctly, or you did it wrong, and translate it or change it to commission. Which, yes, you could do that, but here's the reason why I want to say don't do that. Is even with the term commission, it's easy for us to accept that as an assignment and then turn and go off and like approach it as individuals, or even approach it like as if we're on our own, even if we aren't actually on our own. But with co-mission, it is emphasizing that the mission is not ours alone, but it is one that is shared between multiple parties, primarily or specifically between Jesus and his church. And so, and I think that can, there's a reason it's third and comes out of community as well. Like it's something we all share together as well. So, a rule of rhythm that guides our energies, bodies, and resources toward being missionally present with the message of Jesus in a specific place. Emily, take it away.
Well, first, if you are kind of lost because you jumped in on this one, we encourage you to go to the first one about communion. No. Yeah, about communion. Because we go into the backing of why we're talking about this and some more foundational things before just hitting the ground running with the things we're going to talk about right now. So I would really encourage you to go back.
We are entertaining to listen to.
I don't know about that, but wow. You can go listen to us.
We are the people you will listen to.
I think first that I think about with co-mission is figuring out like where are you gifted. So that's something we're talking about right now
in our community.
DC. Mm-hmm. But like, and I don't know why I said but, and when you know that, as you're figuring that out, and don't do nothing until you're like, I know this is my gift. Like, we are called to love and serve and be hands and feet. We are made light when we join in the kingdom to those around us. So that doesn't mean you can't do anything until you know what you're gifted in, but I would encourage you, and maybe that could be something in there of figuring out where you're gifted and then using those giftings in many different ways, including the co-mission part.
Right.
And how we all join together using those, like God created us in this way to use all of our different gifts for kingdom. Yeah. So, I think that's really important. I think some like very more practical, that is practical, but some examples of other things you can put in this, and pray about is hosting people that you know are not identifying as Christ followers to something, either meeting them somewhere or bringing them into your home, or if it works out, I know this is kind of countercultural, inviting yourself into their space, whether it is their place of work or their home or whatever it may be.
It sounds like something Jesus did,
right?
Once or twice.
But for now, it seems off. But people will do that.
Yeah.
It can look like writing people encouraging letters. Mm-hmm. If you see someone's hurting, it can be an example from the book we've been reading from, Church as Movement. One of the examples he gave was being kind to those who have been unkind to him in his workplace or in whatever environment he's in. Yeah. That being intentionally kind to them. And that's very much what Jesus teaches. Yeah. So that goes into co-mission. They will know him by the way we love. Yep. And so realizing like that's hard. It's really hard. So coming at that from I'm going to be kind, and that's going to be a regular rhythm but I'm going to practice it because it's not there. Mm-hmm. It can be praying, and I've seen this a lot where we kind of get stuck, like that can almost be used as a safety net of like, well, I just need to pray about the people around me. I think that is so essential and so good. If you're not doing that, I would encourage you to put that down, to be praying for those around you and for eyes to see. And we won't get into this, but people of peace to come into your life to be able to clearly see God is sending them into your place of wherever that might be, to talk with them, to pray about them, to encourage them, to show them Jesus, and that they're open to that. So I would definitely put praying for those around you, praying by name specifically. One thing I will say, one of the, like, do you care if I share one of ours?
Go for it.
This summer, one of our co-mission rhythms is we're going to look at our calendar actually tonight and plan out nights that we're going to put invites out there for neighbors, just one at a time. We've talked about doing neighborhood things too and hosting that, which is, if that's your cup of tea, that's your gifting, host a neighborhood block party. But we are planning on having people over to eat, especially outside, that feels more neutral for people. And getting to know them, just for the purpose of getting to know them where they are and knowing how can we love them. They're literally our neighbors. They live right next to us. And if they can't, we're also extending that to our kids' friends' parents. And getting to know them better. And so this is something we've desired, but we have never just sat down and been like, this is the night we're going to invite these people. And so it does take intentionality.
One of the things, I hope this doesn't shoot ourselves in the foot, but like, I know this is literally called scattered rule and rhythm, but even in this, you don't have to do this alone. Like, even like that, honestly, truly, like we joke with some people who shall not be named about moving closer, but one of the perks, like if you do live closer to others, is that you can do things together pretty easily, or a lot easier than, when you live in Timbuktu. So, like, I mean, in terms of, hey, let's use our house and you guys come over and we'll invite these two neighbors over, or this neighbor, and we'll just hang out.
Or even like an example, this wasn't exactly, but we were hosting someone to stay at our house. This was a believer, so this is not exactly the same example, but it was kind of last minute, and I asked someone who lived close to us to come help me clean it up. And so that, like, if you're like, oh, my space is too messy to host, ask someone from your church, say, this is what I want to do. This is my intentional. Can you help? They may or may not be able to, but asking and then offering, and this gets us a lot outside of ourselves too.
For sure.
Any other things?
No, I mean, I'm sure I could think of stuff, but I'm going to keep this short. So
I wanted to end with this question. Everyone has a rule and rhythm of life. We're talking about setting these intentionally. Is the rule and rhythm of life that you have making you to be more like Christ?
That, I feel like that fits with, that's a great question, and it fits with what we pursue, especially at Direction Church. I use the term Christiformity a lot. In fact, I just used it in a newsletter I wrote. But becoming more like Jesus. And so does our rule and rhythm, both like our scattered ones for ourselves and our families, but also our gathered one as a church, like that's something that we're going to be talking through on and off probably. Does that move us? Does it move the needle in making us more like Jesus? So yeah, those are some things to think about over the past, this one and the last two podcasts. And again, as per the usual of the last two times, if you have more questions or you want to talk through this more or bounce ideas off of somebody, just reach out or ask somebody else part of the community. It does not have to be me. It does not have to be Emily. It does not have to be, I don't know, insert somebody's name that you talk to a lot. It can be, but this is something that like all of us are practicing, or hopefully going to move towards practicing, because I believe these help us move the needle to becoming more like Jesus. So that's what we have for you today, this week, but not forever, because we will be back. There's more to say about other stuff that we talk about as a community. So anyway, until then, take care, and we'll talk to you later. Oh, gosh.